drafted, if you're really, really good in college, to a crappy franchise. You may come from a very smart family, a loving family, no dysfunction, and then you get drafted to the Cleveland Browns 10 years ago. And then we expect these 23-year-old kids to just, be successful. I mean, you generally, basically what you do as a college athlete, the better you are, the more you're punished in the draft, the more dysfunctional, awful roster you go to. Now, Aaron Rodgers was lucky. He went to Green Bay. He fell in the draft. He was very fortunate. No chaos, smartly run. But Green Bay's a little weird, too. It's the smallest sports city in America. 48-year-old men wear cheese hats. There's no owner. They're really bizarrely paralyzed by tradition. And Aaron wants out. There's a story this morning. Bob McGinn, The Athletic, been covering the Packers for 1,000 years, says Rodgers has mocked Brian Gutekunst, the GM, in group chats, comparing him to the GM of Jerry Krause, where Michael Jordan used to make fun of Jerry Krause. Aaron Rodgers is rolling his eyes at this general manager. Also, according to McGinn, he talked to a longtime friend of Rodgers, and the friend said once Aaron gets something in his head, he doesn't back down. The friend said 2% chance he plays for Green Bay. You know what this is? It's Prince Harry and the royal family. He's like, I know I was born into the royal family, but I don't want to live in rainy England. I don't want to deal with the Queen. I'm not the heir to the throne anyway. I'm over stuffy and formality and wearing a tie 7 days a week and weird polo matches with old rich people. The Queen. I know it's the royal family, but now I'm married to a beautiful woman, and I am over stuffy, old, traditional, overly formal, paralyzed by the good old days. Beverly Hills, here I come. And that's Aaron Rodgers. He didn't pick the Packers. They picked him. It was doomed to fail. He's over conservative Green Bay. He's over those brutal winners. He's over the dysfunction of the Packers. They never land free agents. They never even make a bid on J.J. Watt. He's over it. And then they draft a quarterback that is years from playing. He's done with it, and he's got a beautiful actress girlfriend. Jeopardy, here I come. I mean, Prince Harry didn't choose the royal family. They chose him. And he looks around and he's like, this isn't who I am. I don't want to live this life. And there's a freedom. I feel bad for kids who are born into these big traditional families and they're the black sheep. They never wanted to live in Milwaukee or they never wanted to be in front of cameras their whole life, wearing a suit. But Green Bay is great and the royal family's amazing. For most people, not for everybody. The Packers are a little bit like the American NFL royal family. They were the first Lombardi, the Super Bowls. They were kind of the first. They were the first dynasty in the National Football League. But don't you look at the royal family sometime and go, it's weird. My mom was British. She thought they were weird. I used to watch the BBC and read all those books. They were in our small rural house. I've been to England several times. I always look at the palace and I think, that's a weird life. Stuffy ties every day, polo matches. Aaron's over Green Bay. He's over it. And by the way, he understands there was a lot of good in it. So does Favre. But why does every quarterback there end weird? Because Green Bay's a little off. It's a little different. Literally, they have to go to their board to make trades. And by the way, I there's something about my personality where I've got a quirk. And I know I'm a California guy and I'm pretty crazy liberal, but I do find it funny when people that are paralyzed by tradition flail and get stomach cramps because they have to change a little. I mean, I feel like the Packers are Mike Pence's hair and Aaron Rodgers is the fly. They just don't know how to swat it. This was all solvable. It was all solvable. I mean, Russell Wilson was unhappy 2 times now with Seattle. They just solved it. They gave him a big contract, and they got a bunch of receivers and tight ends and offensive linemen. Brady was frustrated years ago, and New England, Multiple times, they got rid of Garoppolo. He was tired of Garoppolo, and they got rid of Garoppolo. I don't think this was ever going to work. I think Aaron's non-traditional. People tell you who they are. Listen, Aaron struggled. This is public now. I'm not taking a shot at Aaron. He struggled with his parents. Why? They're very religious. He's been outspoken about this. He has struggled with his family and their super religious tradition. That's the Prince Harry thing. It's like, yeah, I got drafted by you guys. I appreciated it. I'm sure Prince Harry at some point appreciated the royal family. But then you're 24 and 25 and 26 and you're not heir to the throne anyway. And I mean, Aaron's not heir to the throne. They drafted Jordan Love. And he's like, I'm over it. I want to go live in Beverly Hills. I want to go hang out. He bought a house in Malibu. I'm over it. And he's not threatened by Jordan Love. That's not it. It's just, go look at their draft this year. 3 offensive linemen. Go look at it last year, a quarterback and a running back. That's not what they needed. They needed players. They got rolled last year or the year before twice by San Francisco. Look at what Tom Brady and Kansas City have. They need players, not developmental players. They need guys who can play now, not drafting 3 offensive linemen this year that can't help you this year to win. Aaron's over it. He's Prince Harry. I got a beautiful girl. I want the sun. I want to live my own life. I'm tired of the weird dysfunction that's called royal family. That's what the Packers are in the NFL. They were the first. Mark Schlereth talked about it yesterday. Jordan Love's not the issue.
He is not concerned at all about drafting a quarterback. He understands that there's not a quarterback on the planet that can beat Aaron Rodgers out. He is that good. There's only about 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the National Football League that can cover warts, and he happens to be one of them. And in the last 10 years, the Green Bay Packers have drafted in the first round 9 defensive players and the heir apparent quarterback, and you're looking at this guy going, this dude can't play. He does nothing for our team, and I want to win championships here. Like, I'd be irritated with him too.
Listen, I don't always think Aaron's the most relatable or likable guy. I don't. He's not a big fan of me. I like him, but I've called him out. I think like Kevin Durant, he can be hypersensitive and sometimes is difficult. But I will defend. I've always felt so lucky that I wasn't forced into like really tight tunnels by my parents. I was allowed to just go be a sportscaster. I was terrible when I started. I made no money. I was on my own, and it's the life I wanted to live. Yes, if I'd have grown up in a traditional family that church every Sunday and you're going to take over dad's business, it would have probably been great. I would have had a BMW when I was like 26 years old instead of driving